What is up, everybody? Feel like it's been forever. A lot of things going on. Final Judgement, Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. Welcome in, everybody, man. It's been about a month since we've been live and talking about the consensus of everybody, man, of everybody. Yeah, exactly. Listen, I don't get too crazy, okay? Don't get too crazy right there at the bottom, okay? We're going to talk about this. A lot of topics to talk about. Listen, I just got to say, man, shout out to everybody, you know, for constantly getting in the DMs and sending me messages and like, yo, what's going on? Well, I mean, I had so many people. Listen, I got to be honest, full transparency, man. I had a kidney procedure in the first week of February that really kicked my ass, man. Like, I am literally just getting caught up. I watched the Super Bowl on my sofa under the covers in pain. Okay. I couldn't even talk about it. But finally, I'm back. I'm healthy. Everything's good. Things are looking up. Now I'm trying to get caught up. A lot of big things popping, a lot of things going on, and a lot of topics to talk about. You know, I'm still really not ready to talk about this damn loss because it shouldn't have been a loss. It should have been a win. We all know that, right? If you're following for the first time, obviously make sure you're following the Final Judgement on YouTube. Make sure you're getting that at Judge Jigsaw on Instagram, right? Make sure you're getting that Judge Jigsaw on Twitter. And yo, listen, man, if you're not following yet, make sure you're checking us out all weekend, man. The Win Daily Sports family, we're taking over serious on the weekends, and you will catch me specifically hosting on Sunday mornings from 7 to 9 a.m. every single Sunday, talking fantasy sports, talking sports betting, and obviously some local Philadelphia stuff as well. So all kinds of good stuff, and shout out to everybody for their support. Listen, man, this could be a long show. I don't want to go crazy long, but it's been a while, right? It's been a while, and we got so much to talk about, and so many things happening. You know, especially on the Eagles front, man. NFL is king; it never ends. It's consistently on the top of everybody's charts, even though it's spring training, and the Phillies are on fire. We're going to talk about the 76ers because I got a question for everybody about Joel Embiid. And I'm going to piss everybody off, but that's okay. But let's just talk about right off the bat. I want to be honest with you. I really don't want to talk about the Eagles Super Bowl loss, right? I don't. We'll get into it a little bit because it was a game that had to be won. You guys, the last video I made on here said it was a must win, and I believe it was a must win. It was a must win because you know, the opportunity to get to the Super Bowl is far and few between, man. You know, and to be lucky enough to get there 2 times or 3 times or 4 times, it's what makes TB so damn great, right? And what makes New England so great? What made the Buffalo Bills with Marv Levy so great, even though they lost? Doesn't matter because they were consistently there, man. Consistently there. You know, and again, you know, it had see, I'm getting choked up already because I just know how important that game was to a lot of players on that team, specifically guys like Brandon Graham, guys like Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey. I mean, it just consistently, you know, was there, and it was in our grasp. I mean, it's halftime. I'm feeling good. 24-14. I'm thinking we're up 10. We look good. Looks like we can't be stopped. And then listen, man, Andy Reid just took over. Andy Reid just took over. We said what it is. He just took over. We were out coached. Listen, I love Nick Sirianni, but he was out coached in that game, especially in the second half. Jonathan Gannon lost a chess match. Nobody made adjustments, and unfortunately, we lost the game. We lost to the best quarterback in the NFL, which is Patrick Mahomes. It's simple as that. And Patrick Mahomes had under 200 yards rushing. Again, think about that. When you think about it, their longest play was 22 friggin' yards on offense. He was under 200 yards from passing. That, think about it. It's ironic, isn't it? Because when we beat the New England Patriots, if somebody would have told me Tom Brady would have 500 yards of passing and we still would win with Nick Foles, I'd say you're out of your friggin' mind, right? Just like this game, except we were on a losing end. We were on a losing end. Just like somebody would say, yo, listen, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for under 200. Their longest play on offense is going to be 22 yards, and you were going to lose the game. I'd say you're out of your friggin' mind, right? You must be a crackhead at K&A. But at the end of the day, guess what? We lost this game, and it was there to win. So we move on now. We have to move on. We have to rewrite the story, right? We have to rewrite the story. How does the story end? It doesn't end right here. It does not end right here. How does the story end? If people are wrestling fans, right now, that's a Cody Rhodes thing right now going up against Roman Reigns. He wants to rewrite the story. How does the story end going from WWE to AEW to coming back to WWE, coming back home to win that belt for his old man? Rest in peace, Dusty Rhodes. So let's get to this comment. My man Mike checking in as well, popping up live out of nowhere. Mike hit me up today, and he got the juices going a little bit, man. He did. I love it, man. We love it. My man Rich, what's up, my man? Absolutely. He says, happy. Yeah, listen, I'm good. I missed you guys as well. My man Thomas second this says, Tony, I've literally become a Philly fan over this past year. Pops is from Philly, as you know, and Hertz is from Cheneville, Texas. Go Sixers. Thomas, I love it. I love it. And Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, right? If I'm not mistaken, you start following this show and following us, okay, when we start doing post games in the World Series with the Phillies and the Houston Astros. And again, or maybe even the San Diego Padres, but it was because we make this, for everybody. Everybody get an opinion in. I want to hear. I love the outside perspective. I love it. I love when I'm on Sirius on the weekends and I got to talk to New York guys and Jersey guys and and they give me their opinion on Philly sports as a whole. I love it because sometimes we're blinded by that and we just don't see it, right? But this we see. My man Adam, Adam, been a while, buddy. What up, Jakes? What's up, Adam? As always, Rich says, yeah, I'm still not over losing. It stings a lot. It does sting a lot, but what could sting a lot? Let's get right to free agency. Okay. Now again, Brian Johnson, I think before we even let's talk about coordinators. Brian Johnson, I think we knew was the slam dunk pick. Listen, as soon as your franchise, quarterback comes out and Jalen Hurts and says that's who he's comfortable with and that's who's rolling the show, you already knew it was going to be in-house. Listen, the offense, there was nothing wrong with the offense. Why if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? He's already calling the first 15 scripted plays. He's in the room. Listen, he's working with Jalen. That's his guy. Jalen has already said that he is going to be a future head coach. So listen, you give the guy the role, sky's the limit. Sean Desai, listen, Sean Desai was one of my picks, man. Listen, I understand people want to go in-house and they're talking, but let me tell you something, okay? Don't be fooled by this pick, okay? For people that want to sit there and say, Sean Desai, Seattle wasn't that good. We was at Chicago. Listen, there's so many different things you have to look at. Number one, he's under 40 years old. He's a young guy, right? Young guy. He's learned from guys that the Eagles absolutely like, one meaning Vic Fangio. He's a disciple of Vic Fangio, okay? But he's also a Pete Carroll guy. Listen, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When you can pluck guys off a coaching tree of guys like a Bill Belichick, whether you like them or not, okay, I'm not saying all his guys work out. I get it. I understand that. But I'm just saying, where you can pluck guys off an Andy Reid tree, so to speak, right? That's who you want. Pete Carroll is a phenomenal football mind. Brilliant. And when he calls Sean Desai a brilliant football guy, you listen, okay? You listen. All right, so the one thing I like about this move, and I mentioned this on Twitter as well, that I like that he's going to be more of an attack style guy on defense. And I think if it wasn't already your priority is C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't care what anybody thinks. It's C.J. Gardner-Johnson or bust. Okay, you franchise him, you sign him long-term, whatever you need to do, he is your number one priority. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is going to get paid, man. Oh, don't no, don't discount me by saying this, that you think that I'm saying that Jalen Hurts isn't a priority. It has nothing to do with it. The priority is CJ Gardner Johnson. That's the guy you traded for. Okay, that's the guy that you want. He's your young guy in the back. And I will say it again. I will say it again. He is the first guy to make the loss of Brian Dawkins sting a little less. Okay. I loved Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins was a two-way player. He helped. Okay. But Malcolm Jenkins, I knew he had a limit on how long he could play. CJ Gardner Johnson going to be starring this year, this league for many years to come. He helps that sting of guys like Earl Thomas go away. He helps that sting of Brian Dawkins go away. No disrespect to Rodney McLeod, but he just wasn't that guy. You have a guy, you have a ball hawk in that offense, in that safety, capacity. And Mike, what I mean, okay, by attack, okay, yes, you. So here's my thing. He doesn't blitz much more. What we did, this guy's a lot better than Gannon did. Now, here's the thing: different schemes for different teams. Remember that. Okay, a very, very young defense in Seattle. Okay. So, yes, he didn't blitz a lot. Okay. On this team, this defensive line is going to change a little bit because of free agency, right? So, I think that he's going to look at CJ Gardner Johnson, bring him up more in the box and do some more safety blitzes, which, Vic Fangio was accustomed to doing as well. He's that kind of disciple. Okay, so I do think that it'll be more of a attacking style of defense in that perspective. Rich says definitely be more aggressive than Gannon was calling plays. I completely agree. I don't think it's the same way. I think Desai will blitz more than Gannon did. Listen. The thing with Sean Desai is he's going to be more of an adjustment guy. The thing with Jonathan Gannon was Jonathan Gannon had his system and he stuck to his system. That's what bit him in the ass in the Super Bowl. He didn't adjust. Okay, because he didn't adjust, the problem was we got beat. Simple as that. We see that a lot. Doc Rivers for the Philadelphia 76ers, the same way. Doesn't adjust. He sticks to what he wants, and that's it. He doesn't want to play young guys. He sticks to veterans. That's why Isaiah Joe and Charles Bassey should still be on his team. But instead, they're blowing it up out there in OKC and San Antonio, respectively. Okay. So what I look at with Sean Desai is a guy that's not even built yet. Okay, that's going to be built on this team. We had the same thing with young guys. Gannon wasn't built yet. Shane Steichen wasn't built yet. These are guys that were being built. And I love this move because he's a young guy like Sirianni. He's going to be in tone with these players. There was a reason why, in my opinion, that after they lost it on Fangio. Now they only lost on Fangio because they thought Jonathan Gannon was coming back. So Fangio goes to Miami. Okay. But once they lost on Fangio, he was the only guy, in my opinion, the seasoned guy that they were looking at. I don't think they were all in on Vance Joseph. Okay. I know we had 2 interviews. I don't think it mattered. I don't think they were all in on him. I think by you seeing that them going to the college ranks, that they want to get that younger guy that was going to relate to these players. And I think this is where Sean Desai comes from. He's a younger guy that can relate. Listen, there's not many better players, coaches in this league than Pete Carroll. Okay. Which is what Sean Desai has learned from. And again, there's not many guys that are better players, coaches than guys like Andy Reid or Pete Carroll. So this is a huge move to me for the Eagles. I like it a lot. Again, you're going to have to give this time to implement his system. And again, this is going to be a different system, man. You have to look at their guys are not coming back on this defense. And we're going to get to that. The guys are not coming back, specifically, especially along that defensive line. Rich says, Gannon's problem was he blitzes were easily diagnosed for most part by the offense. I agree. Very, very predictable. And Mike agrees as well. So yeah, that was one of the issues, the predictability of Jonathan Gannon's defense, and that's what happened. So listen, yes, you did have a defensive line that led the league in sacks and almost broke the NFL record, but at the same time, the issue you had, though, is when they're not getting pressure, you need to bring up a blitz and dial up a blitz. And unfortunately, they did not do that. Now, when we look at free agency, I have to ask you guys this question, man. Okay, because you have some high profile free agents. Okay, we already know that. I really think that you really try to lock up Javon Hargrave. Obviously, Fletcher Cox, no disrespect. It's been great. It's been real, but it's time to move on. Brandon Graham, it's been great. Listen, Brandon Graham is not going to get the money that he deserves with Philadelphia. He earned himself a nice 2 to 3 year contract, but we cannot afford that on this team the way presently constructed. So he has to go somewhere else to get that. And it's going to be one of those, listen, one of those send-offs that it's going to be mutual. They both understand it. Brandon understands it. He's not going anywhere as far as the community. Just having this huge house built over in Jersey. But it'll be a letter coming out thanking the Philadelphia fans and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, he'll always be an Eagle. So no matter where he goes. Now, my question to everybody, and I pose this a lot, is I would seriously consider trading Darius Slay. Now, before everybody gets all crazy and calls me nuts, okay, and brings the heat, which I want you to do, obviously make sure you're giving a follow at Win Daily Sports and Heat Ratio Sports as well, who are powering this show. But Darius Slay, huge number, 20 plus million to get to cap, not happening, okay? I love Darius Slay. I loved that we went out and got him from Detroit. We rescued him from the city of Motown, and I wanted this ring more than anything for him as well. The problem is you need a stud corner in this league. Easily one. What we did was we got lucky last year that we had Darius Slay, who actually wasn't their best corner. It was James Bradbury, and we brought James Bradbury in for a 1-year deal. James Bradbury is 2 to 3 years younger than Darius Slay. In my opinion, you shop Darius Slay. Will the Eagles do that? I think that they will. Will they get what they want? I don't know. Am I saying that Darius Slay should be traded and I don't like that? No, that's not it. What I'm saying is you have to get creative when you have to pay a quarterback $45 to $50 million a year. You have to be creative. You have to start taking some L's, right? And drafting properly. You have to do that. And in order to do that, you have to get assets. In order to get assets, you have, or I should say, those assets turn into controllable players, which are controllable players that you're going to get through the draft. How do you get those draft assets? It's by trading some of your pieces. Simple as that. So for me, for my money, I say 100% you shop Darius Slay and you look to lock up James Bradbury. Look, you lock up Bradbury, you lock up CJ Gardner-Johnson, and unfortunately, Darius Slay could be the odd man out. I love everything that Darius Slay stands for. I love that his wife is a fixture within the Eagles community, going to the tailgates and constantly doing fantastic things, on the Twitter timeline for a lot of people that desperately need it. But at the same time, Darius Slay, if we're being real, was not the number one corner on this team. And if you're going to pay a number one corner, it has to be, in my opinion, James Bradbury. That's what I'm talking about. That's what needs to happen. Okay. So if you do that, you get some good pieces back as far as assets and draft capital, and then you have to make it stick, right? Listen, there's going to be guys out there that you can get on a 1-year, 2-year deal. Now, you flip the script a little bit. You lock up Bradbury. So now what you're doing is, because obviously McPherson isn't ready, listen, I love Avonte Maddox exactly where he's at, playing that slot role. I think he was fantastic in that role. So you're going to have to go out and get another corner if you go this route. And I think it's something that really needs to be considered. I really do. Because I think that you really need to lock up those two guys in Bradbury and Johnson. And you really, listen, Mike, I don't know. What do you think? Why do you think Hargrave is gone? That's the thing. Is he gone? I don't know, man. I think that there's a possibility that you could sign. Now, listen, you remember the big three, it will eventually turn into Milton Williams, right? Jordan Davis and Javon Hargrave, right? That's what it's going to be. Right? That's what it's going to be. That's going to be your big three. That has to be your big three. Okay. They're young, right? Listen, I don't know if someone's going to pay him weird money. I don't know. See, here's what I will say. The funny thing is about this Philadelphia Eagles team is they have a very interesting dynamic. And what that dynamic is, it's a dynamic that says, you know what? we have a great team atmosphere and a team vibe. And I'm not saying people are going to take hometown discounts at all, but you're seeing this with the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, you're seeing it with the Philadelphia Phillies. These guys, are dropping down about 5 to 10% of what they're actually worth in order to stay on a team culture that they not only love, but they enhance, as well as being competitive on a year-to-year basis, right? And I think that's what you're going to see with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I say that Javon Hargrave was one of the best defensive tackles in all football that nobody talked about last year. So, Mike, I get it. You're paying him weird money. Somebody who could step up to the plate, I'm sure. But I think it's going to be something that's really going to be looked at, because I think that you're not going to see, obviously, you're going to have to rebuild your linebacking core. And listen, it's obvious, right? The name Bobby Wagner is going to be on everybody's list because of Sean Desai, right? Where everybody, going to have the Seattle ties and everybody's talking about it. But they're going to have to rebuild the linebacking core, man. Let's be honest. You're not going to pay TJ Edwards the money. Kazir White was on a 1-year deal. He really didn't blow you away last year. So you're going to be looking for linebackers. And let's face it, the Eagles do not value linebackers. They've never valued linebackers. They will not start to value linebackers now either. They never do. They don't value linebackers and they don't value running backs, which brings us to the Miles Sanders effect. Now, I have an interesting take on Miles Sanders. Now, a few years ago, when I swore that the Green Bay Packers were going to get rid of Aaron Jones because he was going to want big money, they signed him to this ridiculous deal that they obviously just restructured recently, right? But I think there's a role for Miles Sanders, and I don't know why the Eagles do not want to revisit that. Right. I've seen a lot of people on the timeline talk about the Eagles are ready to hand the ball over to Kenny Gainwell. I think that is a brutal mistake. I do. In this day and age, we get fixated so many times on guys that play roles, that are role players, that you automatically elevate them into starter positions, and that doesn't always work, especially at the running back position. I'm serious. I'm curious to see how this is all going to work out. I like Kenny Gainwell, but I do not think Kenny Gainwell is an 18 to 22 down back. The one thing that Miles Sanders showed me is he can be that horse for you. He can be that horse for you. Now, are you going to go draft somebody because you don't value the running back position? I think, listen, we could go on and on and on. There's a lot of questions about that. And, they're going to have to get different. They're going to have to be unique with a lot of their contract structure. And they're going to have a lot of decisions to make on who they want to keep. But I personally would try to figure out a way to take Miles Sanders and keep him on this team. Okay, no matter what anybody says, I would 100% find a way to keep Miles Sanders on this team. So I'm right off the bat, when we're talking about the defensive side, I'm saying goodbye to Fletcher Cox. I'm saying goodbye to Kazir White. I'm saying goodbye to TJ Edwards. I'm saying goodbye to Brandon Graham. Okay, and I'm finding a way to keep that big three of James Bradbury, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Javon Hargrave. I'm trying to find out how to keep those guys, because Hargrave is going to be instrumental in guys like a Jordan Davis and a Milton Williams. He's going to be instrumental in that youth, right? In mentoring these two young tackles and how to keep their body right, how to stay focused, different moves, different blitz pickups, different blitz schemes that they're going to be using. I'm sorry, because I'm already starting to talk about Salamali, which we're going to get to in a couple minutes. But I think that's the big three. I do. Adam says, you think the Eagles will get rid of Quez Watkins to find another receiver to replace him? I think it's hilarious, Adam, that they're actually coming out and they're saying, hey, Quez Watkins. Who the hell wants Quez Watkins? Like, what the hell is Quez Watkins getting you? Like, I don't understand when they say that. Like, all of a sudden, like who's taking Quez Watkins? Now, listen, I think the script has already been told. Re-signing Greg Ward. They'll draft somebody. Maybe they sign somebody as a 1-year deal. But Quez Watkins, I've seen enough. Dropped too many balls for me. Didn't stay focused when it mattered. And I'm ready to move on. Simple as that. I don't need a Quez Watkins number 3, number 4 receiver. I think that they definitely can get a number 3 in free agency, or even draft somebody for that, for that matter. But they'll get something done, and I think it's not going to hurt them at all, especially when you look at the structure of the team. My man, Greg, man, down with the flu, so bummed about the Eagles. My man, Greg, it was funny, Greg. I was just looking at a message from you because I've been down too. It's been about a month since I've been on here, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna hit Greg up and see how he's feeling. So I'm glad that you checked in. I'll be back. I'm glad we got to get ready to talk baseball, Greg, because baseball's right around the corner. So we'll be talking baseball on the show when you're feeling better as well. God bless as always. Rich says, I need a 3, and Quez isn't the answer. 100%. Now let's get to the offense side of the ball because we're bringing it up. I'm telling you the way I feel. I would 100% look to try to keep Miles Sanders. But I think that if you think that Isaac Seumalo is coming back, I think you're crazy. He's going to get stupid money. He's going to get that big contract. I think we already know we're not going to be able to match. That's why you have a guy like a Cam Jurgens who, whether it's going to be for Jason Kelsey, whether I think Jason Kelsey comes back. I do. I think that Jason Kelsey comes back on like a 2-year deal, maybe a 3-year deal. They can backload it. They'll give him a nice signing bonus. I think they'll both be in agreement, and it's only going to be good for this team to have his presence there. I do. I really think that it's going to be a priority as long as he wants to play, to come back and play for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think that's important, especially for a guy like Cam Jurgens and whoever they replace. And I'm telling you right now, they better get ready. Because Lane Johnson, even though he's a beast, man, at the end of the day, you need to start looking at replacements. You need to start looking at replacements, and Lane Johnson is one of those guys. 3 years on the road, you're going to need somebody to step in. Mike says the Eagles are sneaky too. We won't be able to judge it for a while. They had a lot of late additions at the free agency to draft. They always do that, man. They wait. They wait it out because it's all about the compensatory picks, right? You already heard Howie come out and talk about compensatory picks. They every year they love the compensatory picks, and obviously that for people that don't know what they are, they're for depending on what free agents leave and sign, it's what you get in return for losing your own guys. But they also don't like to sign guys that have to give up picks as well. So they play that game. Now if there's a player they really want, they're going to zone in and they're going to get them, right? But they do play that game to where they can maximize their draft capital as much as possible. So you're right. Mike says, so we may be upset early. Exactly. One thing about the Eagles, they never make a splash right in the beginning. It's always a calculated move by Howie. Listen, I can't believe I'm saying this. You would have never thought this 5 years ago, but I do trust Howie and what he's doing when it comes to managing the cap and bringing in these guys at their value. I mean, he does a great job at doing that. And we never thought we'd be able to eat that cap hit by Carson Wentz and still be competitive, and we did, right? So a lot of things had to work out for that to happen. But again, it happened, and it's all because of managing the cap wisely and correctly. So I think that's something very, very important that we need to talk about. Now, I said offensive side, everything is set. Receivers are set. Great year, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, just looking to build on that. Obviously, Dallas Goedert as well. But the running back position is going to be very interesting to see what they do with Miles Sanders. I think that's going to say, a lot of what happens going forward. My man Al checking in says that I hear you say trust Howie now. Yeah, I did say that, Al. Or miraculously, Al, you better stick around because when we flip this to the Sixers, you're gonna get really pissed off at me. I guarantee you that. So get ready. I've been seeing your videos. I love it. Make sure you're following Al at the 2-minute warning. Doing a fantastic job when it talks about 76ers coverage. Very passionate, very straight up, very transparent with the way he feels, and he doesn't get off. Man, the dude live tweets more than I've ever seen during a Sixers game, which is unbelievably fantastic. Love to be associated with my man as well. So check out Al, and he's going to get pissed off at me very, very shortly when we talk about the Sixers. Now, to finish up on the Philadelphia Eagles, so the one thing I will say, and again, there's going to be a lot. I had to check in here. I told you it could be a long show only because we had so much stuff to talk about and so many things we needed to look at. But my plan is to consistently get on here weekly with you guys. I want to get back that way. I want to start doing segments, on different, one topic at a time. So instead of going on 4 or 5 topics, listen, time is at the essence, and nobody wants to watch an hour and a half long video. It's simple as that, right? But this was kind of indicative of what we want to do for tonight. So Philadelphia Eagles, listen, all I can say is, you have to realize it's very, very hard to consistently dominate year in and year out. That when you lose both coordinators and you bring two brand new guys in, it's never easy. It's never easy. So expect some hiccups along the way. Expect some time for this to gel. But at the same time, I think what you need to do is realize that we are that damn good. And we have a tremendous leader in Nick Sirianni and still a lot of veteran presence on this team that can really keep us grounded and lead us in the right direction. Number one is always going to be Jalen Hurts. Again, I was so happy to see him play the way he did in the Super Bowl. Still didn't shut everybody up because everybody still had a problem. They, everything he did in that game, the first thing they want to do is talk about the fumble, man. Like, it's ridiculous. They did not lose because of that fumble. I don't care. Shit happens. It is what it is. We could bring up so many different reasons on why I lost that game. Jalen Hurts wasn't one of them. Let's be honest, okay? So in order to go far in this league year in and year out, you need that guy, that centerpiece franchise quarterback, and we have them. Be blessed. All good things will come from that young man. Now, let's flip the script. We have to talk about the Sixers, okay? Real quick, on the Philadelphia Phillies. It's early. I'm excited. I just want to throw that out there. I'm very, very excited. One guy I want you to look out for is Alec Bohm, man. I read a lot about Alec Bohm in the offseason, and it was a very, very shortened offseason. But I read a lot about Alec Bohm and a lot of his offseason regimen. And his goal was to get more bulked up and to be able to hit with more power, more consistently. Be very, very careful. I mean, I'm not careful. What I mean is, I think he's going to be a very sneaky find, whether you're playing fantasy baseball or whether you're just watching the Phillies in general as a fan. I think Alec Bohm is going to have a tremendous year this year. This is going to be the Nick Castellanos comeback trail. He worked a lot in the offseason. One thing about Nick Castellanos doesn't quit. Okay, you may think he's a cocky prick at times, and you may say, man, this dude, I don't like his attitude. This dude is 100% Philly, man. He's 100% Philly. And the one thing Nick will do is he will consistently be working in the cage and perfecting his swing. He is a perfectionist. He said didn't feel comfortable last year. He's worked with Kevin Long. He's moved closer to the plate. His swing is more compact. And if you watch the spring training game the other day, okay, you will see the compact swing on that inside out fastball that he took to the opposite field, okay, in the right center for a home run. That is the kind of stuff that you're going to look forward to from Nick Castellanos. That's the Castellanos we remember from Cincinnati, okay? So that is going to be Castellanos we get this year. So you have a lot of guys that are just getting to the next level. You're going to see more consistency from Bryson Stott. You're obviously everybody's going to hold the fort down with Trey Turner, who is one of the best pure hitters in baseball, man. If anybody has not watched Trey Turner, I'm telling you, you are sadly missing out. But you will be pleasantly surprised when you watch him this year. Now, I will throw this out there because, again, obviously you guys know I do a lot of betting content as well, a lot of fantasy content, DFS. My boys over at Win Daily Sports on Sirius Satellite XM, channel 87. Remember something, over and under for Trey Turner in hits was 176.5 at minus 110 this morning, which I easily placed a bet on the over. Both seasons that he hit 160 and 162 and didn't miss a game. 162, that's a lot. Only missed 2 games at 160, one with Washington, one with the Dodgers. When he did that, he averaged 186 hits. So I will tell you that is not only attainable, but very likely that he hits that over and goes 180 plus this year. So I really like that number. Trey Turner, you're going to watch a sweet. Remember back in the day, okay, in 2007 and 8, 9, and 10, that the quick J roll, the chase, the Ryan, man, wait till you see Wait till you see Trey Turner, the Bryson Stott. That turn is going to be poetry in motion, man. I've seen a lot of the infield work that they were doing in the offseason, and you can catch it. You go on YouTube, you can check some of that out right now. In Clearwater, but there, listen, it is really, really seamless. He's one of the best players in baseball for a reason, and that's why I paid heavily to get him. And he's going to be the fire starter at the top, the trendsetter, top of that lineup. So, and shout out to Kyle Schwarber for just saying, yeah, you know what? There's a reason why he needs to be there. I step out, put him in, and now Kyle Schwarber will hit 40 home runs, but now he's knocking 110 instead of knocking an 80 because he's going to have more opportunity with guys on base. This is a very, very heavy lineup. So it's going to be exciting. Very, very exciting. But I want to end this. And again, shout out to everybody tuning in. Give us a follow on the Final Judgement with Tony Cutillo on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, please go over to the YouTube page, type in The Final Judgment with Tony Cutillo. It will come up. Boom, hit subscribe where you get all the content, because it's not just these shows. It's it's the media appearances, it's the little shorts that we do, the interviews that I do conduct with whether beat writers, other personalities, which are fantastic. They say a lot. You get to learn another side to some of these analysts and, the way they've come up and what their expertise is. So check that out as well. Fantastic stuff. But now I'm going to get everybody pissed off. I am. Now, let's talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm going to get a little hype here. Okay, now time for Jigsaw to come out, only like I do. Last night, had a great business meeting with a few colleagues of mine at the Iron Hill Brewery. Shout out Iron Hill, fantastic spot. Had the Homestead Draft, which was amazing. Little zesty orange, kind of like a wheat, was very, very good. Brewski Burger, which was amazing. Cheated yesterday. Don't tell my wife. She don't hear me. She's in bed. Luckily, she won't like to hear that. But at the end of the day, I made a statement. And Al, if you're listening right now, this statement is really going to piss you off. But my statement was, I don't think Joel Embiid is ever going to win an NBA title. I hate to say it. Hear me out for a second. Okay? Just hear me out for a second. My issue, I love Joe. I love his tenacity. I love the way he plays. I listen, I love every minute of it. This is more about the team, Al. This is more about the team, everybody, than about Joel Embiid. Okay? Answer me this. Who was the last dominant big man to win an NBA title? Who was it? Explain that to me. Who was the most dominant big man in the NBA, the last one to win an NBA title? A guy that you would classify in the likes of Joel Embiid. For my money, it's Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Shaquille O'Neal, when he won a title, was a different brand of basketball. And last time I checked, he needed a guy like Kobe Bryant with him in order to get it done. My issue is, this is a different league. This is what has scared me before, and it scared me a few years ago. And I even made the statement, okay? I even made the statement a couple times, okay, that number one or the other, that this team could look to move Joe, or Joe may want to get out because he knows he's not going to win here. The best chance for this team to ever win a title was with a guy named Jimmy Butler. Okay? Jimmy Butler was a closer. Please answer me this. The proof was in that Boston game, 100%. In my opinion, you cannot win an NBA title in this league right now when you have your best dominant player is a big. I'm just being honest. Please tell me I'm wrong. I want everybody's opinion on this. And again, I'm not saying this 100%. This is what I'm thinking of. Because you know what? Nikola Jokic can win as many MVPs as he wants. Okay? He could be one of the most dominant players in the game. I get it. How many titles is he going to win? How many titles is he going to win? Answer me that. 0. He's not going to win any titles. And don't give me Giannis. He's a different player. Giannis is not a listen. Giannis is in a land of himself. Okay, he does things that nobody else in the NBA can do. Okay. Again, Al, this has nothing to do with Joe losing us the game against Boston. What I mean by that, is you have a guy, no matter how much his conditioning has improved, okay? You have a guy that has to go coast to coast in an NBA atmosphere that is very high tempo, very fast paced, and he cannot do it. Not just Joe. It could be Jokic. Could be any of these big guys. They can't do it for 36, 37, 38, 39 minutes. They're tired. That's why you heard Mark Jackson allude to guys not getting back on defense because they're friggin' winded. This is a guard's game. It's a guard's game. And unfortunately, right now, the way this team is constructed, they're not constructed to win a damn title. They're just not. Listen, if the Phoenix Suns' most dominant player was DeAndre Ayton and they didn't add Kevin Durant and they didn't have a Chris Paul and it was just DeAndre Ayton and it was Devin Booker, would they win? No. There's a reason why they couldn't win. There's a reason why they went out and got Kevin Durant. My main premise with this is you watch Jason Tatum take that shot, bury it. He's a friggin' closer. Who is a closer on the Philadelphia 76ers? Who's a closer? Name it to me. You cannot have Joel Embiid as your closer. You can't. It's like seriously. And you know what? I love the way James Harden has played this year as a master facilitator, but James Harden isn't the closer either. You lost your closer in Jimmy. There's a reason why we won so many last minute games with Jimmy Butler, because he was a closer. We don't have that guy. There's a reason why Golden State wins, because they have two guys in Steph and they have Clay. Okay, their big guy, their guy Draymond Green. Okay, he plays a role, right? He plays a role. This is not the right formula to win the NBA. It's just not. It's not. Al, everybody, look at the Eastern Conference. Look at it. Who's Boston's big guy? Al Horford. That's not their number one all-star. It's JB and Jason Tatum. Okay, look at Milwaukee. Giannis is not even in the same category as these guys. He's a different kind of friggin' player. He's built different. He has the stamina of MJ and Kobe combined. Nobody else can even go in his wheelhouse. He's a freak for a friggin' reason. Okay? So that's different. Look at the Western Conference, man. Look at the Western. Who's the big winning a championship? This is my biggest issue, and this is my concern, that the Philadelphia 76ers are constructed to not be able to win on the big stage because they're wrapped around Joel Embiid, who I absolutely love. I do. I love Joe. I love Joel Embiid. I do. And you think about this, man. Think about how ironic this is. When AI got to the finals, and I say AI because he was the leader of that Sixers, right? When he got to the finals in 2001, what was his ultimate downfall? He couldn't get past the big. Okay? So, again, that was a different game back then. So we had the guard then when we needed the big. So we tried to go out and get Dikembe Mutombo, who, listen, I love Dikembe, but he couldn't hold a torch to Shaquille O'Neal. He botted him all over the friggin' court. Okay, but Shaq couldn't do it on his own. He needed Kobe. Okay, because Shaq couldn't run the court for 40 freaking minutes. He needed the guard presence. And I'm sorry, that's my issue. That's my issue with this, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks that I even have to think this way. But I think no matter how many times I watch the Sixers, no matter how many games I watch, no matter how many articles, how many analytics I dive into, it doesn't matter. It all comes down to this team is built around the wrong player. I hate it. Tell me I'm wrong. Al says, okay, I agree with a certain point, but we have what we have. It is what it is. Al, and I get it. I'm not saying like tear the walls down or not. Like, but what I'm saying is, unfortunately, and Joe's not getting any younger. Okay, he's not getting any younger. Okay, so we're going into this consistently with Joe as our piece. Okay, Harden's not getting any younger. So again, at the end of the day, like, think about this. Fast forward. We cannot win. How many times? There's a reason why. Reason why I said Ja over Zion. How many games has Zion missed this year? 34 games. Why? Why? He's not Ja. He's not a guard. Simple as that. This is a guard-driven league. There's a reason why Dame dropped 71. The reason why Spider dropped 71. There's a reason why these guys are dropping dimes everywhere. And our guy, unfortunately, who's throwing up 39 and 15, 39 and 19, 39, having one of the most dominant performances we've ever seen, cannot win the big freaking game because you cannot build a team around a big man in today's NBA. That's what sucks right now. That's what sucks. And again, you know right off the bat that this was never the vision of Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, that scumbag, that stiff Ben Simmons, who stole everybody's money. Okay, we all saw it coming. We all knew what kind of person he was. And when it comes to a basketball player, he was a me guy. We all knew that. He wasn't going to care. Okay, but they hoped that they could formulate this big three when they had that generational talent, they thought, that could do it all. He could shoot from the outside. He could score at will. He could get back on defense, elite defender, rebound, facilitate. They thought they had it. But guess what? He was soft. He didn't want to play. So they lost that. So unfortunately now, you're stuck with the other piece, who is a fantastic player, going to go down as one of the greats of all time. But there's a lot of players that go down as the greats of all time. Okay, a lot of them that don't win championships. And unfortunately, we may have that guy. And that's why I say, will he win a ring in Philadelphia? I sadly feel like he won't. And it has nothing to do with Joel being Joel. It's the way that this team is constructed. It's simple as that. I don't have anything much more I can say on it. Okay, because no matter what they do, no matter the way they formulate everything, it doesn't really matter until they have a closer like a Jimmy Butler. And I keep saying that because he's the only guy that was able to close on his team. And again, everybody that wanted Tyrese Maxey, I don't think it's Tyrese Maxey either. Tyrese Maxey is a piece. Tyrese Maxey cannot be the guy. He is a piece, and that's the problem. It's good. This is a bigger problem than people think. Because you're going to be heavily, heavily invested in this 76ers team, okay, for the next 2 to 3 years. And unfortunately, the odds are stacked against us. And unfortunately, the odds are you're going to be heartbroken. Like you just were. There's a reason why every year we're not the favorite. It sucks. It does. It's, again, the way the game is constructed and the way the team is formulated. It's simple as that. Al says, we just have to ride this till the wheels fall off, but I have zero interest in trading Joe right now. Al, I'm not saying we trade Joe. What I'm saying is Joe decides that he wants to go somewhere else. Listen, you can say what you want, but at the end of the day, Joel Embiid is going to get tired and frustrated, but not being able to win a ring, knowing he's going to get up to that 31, 32, 33, 34 age where the knees start hurting him, the feet start hurting him, the back starts hurting him, the way he falls, the way he's clumsy in the paint, and he's constantly going down. This dude's playing through injuries is going to knock 2 to 3 years off his career. Simple as that. I think we all know that, and he'll never be the same. You got a 2-year window, in my opinion, for Joel Embiid. 100%. My man Sean checking in. Sean, as always, checking in. Sean, Corner Pub Sports, make sure you're giving them a follow. They do a fantastic thing every Friday night. And Sean, I want to get out to your event. I think I saw it was like your anniversary show. Let me know, let everybody know where it's at. I think it's like April 15th, I think, or April 13th. Let me know. I know I saw it. Hook that up in the comments because I know it's local too. I'd love to come out and hang out and watch you guys on, live. Sean says, saw something today asking if the Sixers are basketball's version of the Cowboys, I actually had to think about that. I, Sean, I I hate to say it, right? But let's I don't know another way to think about it, right? We're formulated on paper as this great team, but we keep there's a reason why we keep coming up short. I mean, how many coaches do we have to change? How many players do we have to trade? How many guys do we have to bring in? I mean, what else can we do? Eventually we have to say to ourselves, maybe it's not Brett Brown, maybe it's not Doc Rivers, maybe it's not, this guy, maybe it's not that guy, maybe it's not because of Tobias Harris is getting overpaid. Maybe it's not. No, maybe it's because we have this team constructed around the wrong guy. I hate to say it, and it's not for lack of. And don't get me wrong, it's a weird argument. I'm not saying that Joel Embiid is not great. I'm just saying that in today's NBA, it's just formulated wrong. It's formulated wrong. It's simple as that. All right, Sean. That's April 7th. I was a week off at Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley. So anybody local, April 7th at Huntington Valley, and Sean, it is a Friday night, correct? I'm pretty sure it's a Friday night. They do their shows on Friday nights, obviously. So I think this is a Friday night, April 7th at Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley. They're going to have a nice show, great show. Come on out. I'm going out. I plan on being there unless God willing something happens and I can't get there. But I want to come out. I want to join it. I want to join the show from the audience. Hear these guys talk. It's been have a couple beers. Come out with Jigsaw. We'll have a good time. We'll bring everybody out. Should be great. Sean says every year we have the talent. They get the national attention. Come short. And Sean, it continues to be that way, man. It continues to be that way. So unfortunately, I have to end in saying this, that I just, I should have put this up there. I forgot. Look, I had this all set up, and I was like, I was all excited that I forgot to put. I even changed this. Will Joel Embiid win a ring as a Sixer? Right? Anytime, Sean. Absolutely, man. You guys always grind, and I love grind. There's always been supportive, so I want to get out. There was a couple times you had things I meant to get out, I couldn't get out there, so I actually circled that on my calendar. I want to try to get there. But yeah, will Joel Embiid win a ring as a Sixer? I don't know. I don't know. Al says if somehow we can add a wing, trading Harrison all season could be a huge change. It's a reach though. Al, that's the problem. Everything's a reach now because unfortunately, you waited too late. Unfortunately, you're going to waste. You're going to waste one of the most dominant players ever in the NBA. You're going to waste it. Yeah, I hate to say that, and you're going to waste it, and I think that's going to be the frustration on all of us. We're going to have a lot of great memories. It's the same way. Think about it, right? Think about it. Even though we got to the Super Bowl and even though we got to the NFC Championship games, you think about maybe did we waste the prime years of Donovan McNabb because we refused to put a value on a wide receiver? I think we did, right? It showed as soon as he got TO, he just went off, right? Did we waste some of the years of AI without surrounding him? We went through how many big dog Glenn Robinson and Chris Webbers and Tony Kukocs and Keith Van Horns, right? How many supporting characters that we got to try to get around this guy that just didn't work, right? Did we waste some of those prime years that, yeah, we probably did. And I hate to say it, but it's almost like the Philadelphia freaking way. The only team that doesn't waste the prime years is the Philadelphia Phillies. They go out and they get everybody they need, right? Bryce Harper coming. What do you want? Bryce Boone, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Trey Turner, Zach Wheeler. We rebuild the bullpen. They're giving these guys, the ability to win. They're giving them the pieces, and unfortunately, I know it's different. There's cap issues, and there's money, but again, at the end of the day, listen. What does it tell you, right? What does it tell you? I'll end on this because the buyout market is huge, right? So, and listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Kevin Love is the end all be all, but when you have a guy that still has something left that you could possibly add to your team, and it comes down to two options, Miami or Philadelphia, and he chose Miami. No difference in money, right? Again, he wants to win a ring. He didn't pick the Philadelphia 76ers. Why is that? Why is that? Because he doesn't believe either. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks that we have to watch Joel Embiid and know that the odds are stacked against him ever winning a ring in Philadelphia. Again, everybody checking in. I appreciate it. Hope I didn't piss everybody off with that, but it's been on my mind for a while. It really has. Sean says, watching Butler last night just made me angry again, knowing they chose Simmons over him. Hindsight is 2020, but that dude, listen, Simmons, Tobias, a lot was wrong with that. It should have been Jimmy Buckets. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I don't think I have a man crush on anybody greater than Jimmy Butler when it comes to the NBA. He is that dog. He is that dude. He is that closer. And again, he was our key to winning an NBA championship. We just couldn't hold on to him, and it absolutely sucks. Al says the Bucks and Boston all keep getting better. Exactly. They all keep getting better. They draft right. Again, they draft right. They add the right pieces. And again, Al Horford was shit here, and all of a sudden he goes back to Boston and he hits 5 3-pointers in a row the other night. I can't make this shit up, man. Can't make this shit up. I mean, where's Joe Mazzulla comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's an all-star coach. You know what I mean? So I mean, they do things the right way. They do things the right way. Unfortunately, Adam says great show as always. Adam, as always, I appreciate all the support, brother. I really do. I appreciate everybody's support. But yo, check us out, man. Check us out, whether it be Heat Ratio Sports, Win Daily Sports, and as always here on the Final Judgment. I really like doing this. Just popping in when I can. And this is no disrespect to anybody. It's just my schedule is crazy, crazy busy. And it's hard to formulate plans. I just gotta pop in when I can and pop up. So make sure you're following and subscribing to the YouTube page so you know when I am live on here. Obviously, fully functional show. Make sure you're following all the great content at Heat Ratio Sports by guys like Fourth and Go. Are consistently bringing in guys like my man Al, the 2-minute warning, that's consistently tweeting and Facebooking and throwing his videos and comments out there as always. I do promise to get a Heat Ratio Sports show going again. Again, it's just really hard at this time. Got a lot of irons in the oven right now. And again, make sure you're checking me out. If you have a serious subscription, I'd love to support. Again, 7 to 9 a.m. Every every Sunday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. I got my man Dave Gleckner with me for 2 hours, talking everything of the day, news of the day. We got some cool segments, fantasy flashback, where we talk about other years past. Got some beat writers that come on, whether it be locally or nationally. Have some great personalities on the show. Our man Greg producing does a fantastic job. I'm giving out some bets as well. So if you like props and things of that nature, we hook them up as well. So make sure you're checking us out there, and all the format and topics at Win Daily Sports. Do a fantastic job, whether it's PGA, NASCAR, MLB, NHL, NBA. My man Javon checking in. Gonna have to catch a replay. This will help me through my workday. Javon, I'm curious to see, man. Always make sure you check out Javon on Twitter as well. Javon10 on Twitter. My thing is, I'm curious to hear your opinion, Javon, when I say Joel Embiid will never win a ring in Philadelphia, and listen to my opinion on it. And please hook me up, whether you DM me, give me, because I respect the hell out of you. I love your opinion. I want you to let me know if you feel like I'm on the right path with this, or I'm just being jigsaw crazy and I'm nuts. Sean, good stuff as always. And again, everybody checking in and tuning in. Make sure April 7th, right here, April 7th at Naked Brewing in Huntington Valley. The guys are going to put on a great show, Corner Pub Sports. I will be in the house as well, checking everything out and listening to these guys, having some beer. So come on, check me out, hang with me, and let's have a fun Friday night at a nice spot, a nice brewery, and listen to some great Philadelphia sports talk. So as always, like I always say on the show, 58-20. I told you we're probably going to go an hour. It's going to be a little crazy, but it was a fantastic show. As always, thank you for all the support. I'll be live again next week. Going to try to do this once a week, and you never know when we pop in. And I want to give a shout out, new intern right now. If you haven't noticed, you'll see a lot of quotes going up and votes on the Judge Jigsaw page. Go check out at Judge Jigsaw on Twitter and Instagram. You'll see some quotes going up there That is my son as my intern, my man AJ hooking it up. Every day he's killing it. He's finding quotes for us, whether national, local bets, or votes that we want to hear. That is not Tony. That's all AJ. He's getting started early, trying to bring him up in the business, show him the ropes, and who knows, maybe you'll see him. Maybe you see him on the microphone one day. You never know. But as always, man, everybody for the support, much appreciated. Like I always say, some people have thoughts, some people have takes. On this show, you get the final judgment.